Hello everyone, Rob Cunningham just dropped a video on X about Ripple and XRP, and it breaks everything down in under 2 minutes. Just getting started in crypto? Still learning the ropes? Don't worry about it, we'll go through everything together. And here's something cool, Robbie Mitnick from BlackRock sat down to talk about tokenization. You definitely want to catch that clip. Meanwhile, things are actually moving in Washington. The CFTC and Congress are working on new crypto laws as we speak. We're breaking down all of it right here. Oh, and I've got more XRP stories lined up for you. There's quite a bit to go through. All right, listen to this.
For generations, money has moved slowly, buried beneath fees, middlemen, and hidden systems that quietly drain the wealth of honest people. But the shift is here. Ripple is not a central bank. It's a compliant software company approved by regulators, building technology that enables money and real-world assets move instantly, securely, and at almost no cost. Ripple's foundation is built on verifiable mathematical truth, not politics, not privilege. So every transaction stands transparent, accountable, and incorruptible. At the center is XRP, a neutral bridge token that bridges our world to trust. It clears and settles value between any two parties instantly, fairly, and without borders. Ripple's mission is simple yet world-changing. To help money and value move with trust, transparency, and stewardship. Guided not by human agendas, but by immutable truth. When truth becomes the currency, trust becomes the dividend. Ripple moves real value at the speed of truth.
You could throw in Ripple's partnerships here, their acquisitions, and where XRP fits into the bigger picture of global finance. What really stands out? Governments and regulators across the planet are backing the XRP ledger. Think about it. Ripple's handling more than 24 CBDC pilots worldwide. So the question becomes, just how central will XRP be to the future of global finance? Between tokenization, stablecoins, Ripple's custody tech, and their wallet infrastructure, it's all connected. These pieces matter big time. The treasury side of things, all these moving parts, we're looking at trillions flowing through this network. That's the source of XRP's genuine value. That's where utility meets price. Now listen to this. Ripple's custody service and transaction services through Ripple Prime are likely to play a central role in Japan's digital economy. In the near future, important announcements and new regulations are scheduled to be released, but I am confident that they will have a positive impact on the ecosystem for Ripple. All right, so Ripple's basically been on fire in Japan. They're out there shaking hands, building bridges, doing all of the groundwork you need to really establish yourself. A ton of Japanese banks can already plug into XRP and tap into Ripple's whole ecosystem. And here's what's really fascinating. With these newer products like Ripple Prime and G Treasury coming into play, it makes you think just how deep is XRP going to penetrate the Japanese market. Listen to this. Ripple Prime, Ripple's multi-asset prime brokerage and digital asset infrastructure platform integrating custody, settlement, and trading across both digital and traditional asset markets. After Ripple's acquisition of Hidden Road and subsequent rebranding, Ripple Prime is now being positioned as a bridge for large institutions to access crypto services, including crypto custody, cross-margining, and digital and traditional assets in Japan. SBI Ripple Asia has had a long-standing relationship with local banks and institutions supporting cross-border remittances and tokenized payment infrastructure. Major Japanese firms and banks are now increasingly integrated into XRP and Ripple services for settlement. And it says, of course, we've heard this number a bunch of times with 80% of Japanese banks planning to use. Hold up, though. I'm thinking this actually refers to 80% of banks having the capability set up, right? See, there's a world of difference between planning to do something and being equipped to do it. My gut tells me we're going to witness a serious wave of banks actually firing up this technology. But here's what everyone wants to know. When's this actually going down? You know what? It honestly feels like this could pop off literally any moment now. Okay, so let's jump over to the FSA. Japan's Financial Services Agency is actively working on strengthening crypto regulations, especially for custody and transaction management. But hang on, there's something else I really want you to see. I've got this clip queued up of Robbie Mitchell from BlackRock. I'm pretty sure he's chatting with Blockworks. And he gets into some really interesting stuff about tokenization. Take a listen to this.
It's all about taking the generalized value prop of tokenization, which has lots of exciting things, right? 24/7, real-time settlement, digitally native, global, interoperable, programmable, and saying, how do we deploy that in a given asset class in a way that creates material new value or utility for investors? And so in the case of BUIDL and in general, in the case of money market funds, tokenizing them has broken the paradigm that previously existed that forced you to choose between capturing full yield on your US dollar savings and having full liquidity. For the first time, you could hold US dollars in a tokenized money market fund. And then as soon as you needed liquidity to make a payment or settle a trade, et cetera, you could convert that to a stablecoin. And that, I think, is a really powerful value proposition. That's why this asset class, far and above any others to date, has seen real growth and adoption in tokenization. So now the question is, where do we go next? And a lot of it is going to stay in this category, right? Because there's lots more to do to be able to open up access and serve more and more clients and investors. But also it's about figuring out what are the second and third, next most viable asset classes where you can use tokenization to drive real utility, to expand access, to create an incrementally distinctive level of value for users of that. And that's the journey we're on now.
And that's precisely where this whole thing is headed right now. Listen, Larry Fink, the big boss over at BlackRock, he's flat out said the future for stocks, bonds, derivatives, everything in between, it's all going blockchain. We're looking at tokenized assets zipping around nonstop every hour of every day, hitting every spot on the map. That's your new financial system right there. Here's what really gets my attention though. When you're holding on to XRP, when you've scooped up Ethereum, when you're building a Solana position, whatever coins end up winning this race, you're basically owning a chunk of that fundamental infrastructure. See what I'm saying? This is genuinely democratizing the entire landscape and dropping opportunity into the lap of anyone smart enough to pay attention and participate. That's what they really mean when they talk about leveling the playing field. Whoa, that had some heat to it. Love that energy. All right, next up, major milestone Bitwise investments. FTI, Franklin Templeton, Canary Shares, 21 Shares, Coin Shares, XRP, ETFs are now listed on the DTCC platform. They're all staged and ready to go. The DTCC listing is complete. They're waiting. SEC final approval, potential trading launch within days/weeks. Will unlock institutional access to XRP. This follows a pattern with Bitcoin and ETH. The DTCC listings is typically one of the final steps before launch. Look, we're basically at the finish line here. And get this, direct USD, pair or XRP net inflows hitting Coinbase in the past hour. Direct is always better than Tether because it's new money entering, not recycled existing money within the ecosystem. See, that matters because it's actual new dollars flowing in, not just the same money getting shuffled around. All right, now T-Rex 2x long XRP daily ETF filed. Let me break down why this isn't the game changer it might seem. These 2x products, these leveraged ETFs, they're basically paper trading. They're not physically grabbing XRP off the market. Sure, it's nice to have futures markets alive and kicking. Actually, you need them alive and kicking. SEC won't even look at spot approval without seeing 6 months of futures activity first. XRP futures have been going absolutely wild lately, but notice the actual price, it's been pretty tame. That tells you everything. Futures are just contracts, just people betting which way the wind blows. What really matters are spot products launching. Those need to stockpile actual XRP in vaults to back every share they issue. When that buying pressure hits, now we're talking. Picture this. When billions start pouring in, whether it's 1 billion, 5 billion, maybe we're talking 50 or even 100 billion, someone's got to buy the actual XRP to sit behind those products. That's when supply starts disappearing from circulation and the liquidity dynamics get really spicy. Charles Hoskinson decided to chime in on the ISO conversation. He drops this. ISO 2022 support is essential to open banking and combining the TradeFi DeFi worlds. ADA is glad to be holding the line with XRP. Watch what Charles is doing here. He's courting the XRP army, trying to win them over to Cardano's camp. You've got to respect the hustle, because let's be real, what other crypto community shows up like this? These folks are in the trenches daily, constantly educating themselves, digging through white papers, never giving up on understanding the bigger picture. ISO 2022, the new global banking language. What's changing in rich messaging? Greater interoperability, infrastructure opportunities, ... Some projects are positioning to ride this global wave, but let's get one thing straight. ISO 2022 has zero to do with cryptocurrency originally. This isn't some blockchain breakthrough. It's literally just how banks communicate with each other around the planet. Crypto's just figuring out how to speak their language. It's just a new messaging format. All right, so can we just take a moment to appreciate Caroline Pham? Because honestly, losing her from the CFTC would be a huge mistake. This woman has been an absolute rock star over there. She didn't just tolerate crypto, she jumped in head first and became one of its biggest champions. She's been fighting tooth and nail to push innovation forward and literally pull the CFTC out of the Stone Age into this wild new digital frontier we're all navigating. So I snagged this article to walk through with Lexi. There's some juicy stuff in here. CoinDesk is a leading cryptocurrency company, highlights about regulation. The U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, currently led by interim Caroline Pham, is moving to enable regulated retail spot crypto trading on U.S. exchanges such as Coinbase. Despite delays in congressional action, the CFTC is advancing policy on stablecoins and tokenized collateral, with a trial set for 2026. While a new chairman awaits Senate confirmation, the move signals a significant regulatory shift, with cooperation from the SEC potentially clearing the way for U.S. regulated leverage spot crypto products. Now hold up, we need to have a serious chat about leverage for a second. Look, I'm not trying to be your dad here, but leverage can absolutely wreck you if you don't know what you're doing. So do yourself a favor, before you even think about touching leverage, book an appointment with a financial advisor. Sit down, ask all the dumb questions, and make dead sure you understand the beast you're about to ride. We cover so much ground in those episodes, and Subject Views just threw us a curveball. Check this. Despite a government shutdown, we now have the release of a bipartisan Senate Agricultural Committee draft bill aiming at regulating digital commodities under the Commodity Futures Commission. I had to dive in and break down what's actually inside this thing. So, what are we looking at? Draft legislation assigns new regulatory authority over digital commodities to the CFTC, aiming to clarify the agency's role, especially regarding spot market trading of digital assets like Bitcoin and Ether. The draft follows months of negotiation and builds on the House-passed Clarity Act, which is also sought to define CFTC and SEC boundaries for crypto regulation. Many details remain under negotiation, including definitions and specific powers, as indicated by bracketed sections in the draft text. This is a massive development. We're watching legislation take real shape here. Scott Bassett jumped into the conversation with this. Today, the US Treasury and the IRS, issued new guidance giving crypto exchange-traded products, ETPs, a clear path to stake digital assets and share staking rewards with retail investors. This move increases investor benefits, boosts innovation, and keeps America the global leader in digital assets and blockchain technology. Listen, if we're serious about being the global leader, we can't skip regulation. The finish line looks pretty close right now, and once we cross it, game over. We'll have all the pieces in place. All right, everyone. See you in the next upload.